Good afternoon. Welcome to
everyone.
another episode of Clarity Social TV. My name is Paul Church from Clarity Crafts here in the UK. And this afternoon, we're joined again by the lovely Deborah Wheeler. Good afternoon, Deborah.
Hi, Paul. Hi, everyone.
Hope everyone's well. So we had a really fun session this morning,
We didn't we?
And we finished on time and you got 2 demos done.
I did. I know.
Excellent.
Okay, it's not likely to continue. Okay, let's just be realistic and manage expectations from the get-go.
No. It's all good. It's Friday afternoon. So thank you for joining us. For the first time of tuning in, just waiting for the all clear from Gracie. Gracie will be in the room with you. So if you have any questions, all the way over in New York, if you have any questions, she's there to help. And no doubt some of the lovely design team members will also be in the room as well. So we're a little bit early to party. It's 1 minute to. So we'll give some time for our friends to find us. Pull up a chair. You got your coffee?
I've got my coffee.
Got my coffee. I've got mine. I'm in a Christmas mug today.
You did say any mug out of the cupboard.
I don't mind.
So that's what you got.
I don't mind as long as it's got coffee in it. I don't care.
Yeah, it's about the contents, not the design.
Vessel.
Yeah, not the vessel. That's the word. That's the word.
So there we go. Gracie's in the room with you.
Hi, Grace.
So yeah, I'm hoping everybody can hear us. I'm sure someone would have said by now.
Yeah.
So this morning we looked at some designs from Tina Cox.
Yep.
The doodle stamps, the sunshine and the buttercups.
Yeah.
And then this afternoon we're going to have a look at Barb's crescent moon stamps. Really, really lovely. And Deb's has got a couple of demos to share with us. So I thought what we will do, let's bring up some information on the screen for you. So I'm just going to swap that around. So this is a set of 3 A5. Wrong one, 50-50. There we go. A set of 3 A5 square stamp sets. Now these are normally $14.99. So if you're tuning in for the first time, the item number at the top, which is 11372, that's the item number that you can go to claritycrafts.com, put it in the search engine, and it will bring that product up. Or you can give our UK call centre a call if you're watching live on 01732 868 215. Now, when we look at this price, that set of 3, it should be $44.97. You're going to pay $29.97. So you've got a £15 saving, which is the 3 for the price of 2. Now, if you belong to any of our craft clubs, for example, if you're a Diamond Club member, that brings it down to £25.47 for all of those stamps.
That's such good value.
It's very good value.
When you think of how many stamps there are in each set.
Yes.
I'm going to look later because we were talking earlier, weren't we, about, I know kind of as with my customer head on, you can look at a stamp set and you just see the main image.
Yes.
And you don't look at, you don't see all the additional elements that are in a set and using them. And you think, oh, it's just a moon. But actually, there's so much variety in these sets that
Should we have a look at our new overhead? We've got a new overhead camera. The lights arrived at lunchtime. So what was it? I said it earlier. Bright lights, big city.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, I did the scene from Gremlins where Gizmo gets the light on and going, oh, bright light. Because I should have brought I got Ray-Bans for Christmas, and you have my holidays. I should have brought them with me. It is bright in here now.
So when because the Jim put the lights up and he had them on full blast, I walked in and thought, wow. I said, no, Jim, I said, I'm hoping you can turn them down.
If we look like we're squinting.
Migraine inducing, they really were, weren't they? So we've got the new overhead camera. We've got the new lights. So all tickety-boo.
Good to go.
Absolutely.
I'm road testing it all for Barbara.
You are indeed.
So it's ready when she's back in the building.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our new overhead. So I'm going to look. It's all remote control. Okay. So as long as I point it to the ceiling where the camera is, if I do that, like TV.
And press the right button.
So first of all, we need to go to this one, and there we go. So if I go to there, wrong one. Look. There we go.
Saying?
I know. So there we go. So this is one of the sets of the crescent moons. So I'm just going to bring this one up on the screen for you now. Where's that gone? It's that one there. Oh, See, it's because I
There you
had
go,
a sausage
floral.
roll at lunchtime. That's what's thrown me.
Just the one.
Two.
Well, you see.
Okay, so this is the floral Crescent Moon A5 square stamp set.
These are so pretty. So you get the solid crescent.
Yes.
And these haven't been on TV for quite a while
A number
now,
of
quite
years.
a few years.
Yeah.
Solid crescent. And then this stamp here,
Yeah.
the equivalent in all the sets, is the infill for these. So they're like our two-way overlays.
Yeah.
But what I think is fantastic is all of these additional elements. And actually, but you could not look at that bit, and there's still lots to do with all of these pieces that are around the side.
Yeah.
The danger is you zoom in, just looking at this.
Because it's the black line art,
Exactly.
the solidness.
It's dominant, isn't it? And then you miss all of these other extra bits, and there's some fantastic stuff you can do with them.
So should we have a look at a few pieces of artwork from our lovely design team? So the first piece here is from Elaine Milner.
That's lovely. So she's done it. I think that's an inky background.
Yeah, I reckon a gel press. It feels quite acrylic-y, doesn't it?
It does. And then she's looped down the bottom here. This stamp here
so
is
it's hanging off the moon.
And that stamp there is here. And then stamp the sentiment in around it.
Really lovely, beautiful. Yeah. Then we've got one from Debbie McMullen. Now this is lovely. This is using our Pergamano poppets.
Yeah.
One of our characters. So she's used it as sort of like a rocking sort of moon, hasn't she? Really, it's like a platform.
Good word. Yeah, almost like a frame to then build a scene in. And I'm going to do some of that on my first demo. But it just shows, you don't have to use it as a moon.
It's a lovely frame, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose if you did the other one round there, and I know somewhere in this artwork
some of them have done that, but I think it's lovely just as that. I mean, almost like a little boat.
Yeah, it is. Then we've got this one here from Linda Spencer. Now this is quite apt for this. Last week, the owl. O for owl in the alphabet. See, I knew I shouldn't have had sausage rolls. And then you've got that full moon effect. That is lovely.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are several ways you can get that full moon effect. We'll talk about that later as well.
Okay, right. Okay. Then this one here is another one from Linda Spencer, stamped on designer paper. Then our lovely wee fairies and elves.
Yeah.
Very magical.
Yeah, and some of the dangles. So these are from one of the other sets.
They are indeed.
They might be from the Leafy Heart set with the crescent moons. So they mix and match beautifully.
I'm
really
looking,
good.
I'm thinking, where are they from? And we'll show you those in a moment. And then
it's like a test, isn't it?
I know. Then see, this is where it looks like a pumpkin.
Oh, it does.
So this is from Debbie McMullen. So she's taken the two sort of, and just by stamping with a different colour.
And she's put a little, I think that's probably pencil shading in here around the flask. Go on, go for it.
There we go.
You're just showing off now.
And you can see,
Do you see? So just pencil shading, a bit like Barb's been doing in the colouring in the shack. Just to talk about how you just get depth. You don't need a lot, but it just makes it just changes the look, so they're not flat.
They're not
anymore.
open. Yeah, it's giving it that dimension, isn't it? Okay, so let's. I'm going to go to this one now. So we'll zoom back out. So then the next one in that set is item number individually 11370. And this one is the hearty one, isn't it? Given away really by the heart there.
It's a clue.
So we're doing a swap around with artwork. So this one here is from Elaine Milner.
That's beautiful. So this is gold heat embossed. These new lights are going to catch that beautifully. Look at that.
Look at that.
That's just so lovely. So Elaine's stamped the
solid one,
the silhouette one, and then added in the infill to complete the circle on the moon. That's just so pretty.
Nice. Then another one from Elaine Milner. This is clever, and this is where you're talking about the little assets on there, aren't you?
So that's this stamp here, and then that little heart one there is just infilled in the other squares, and it just gives you that checkerboard design. Isn't that clever?
Lovely.
It looks really contemporary, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then this one from Tina Morris. I like this one.
That's brilliant.
Wife and mum Love You to the Moon and Back. And the little wee
one of the
folk.
wee folk and the letterbox stamps. These are fussy cut out over the top. But it just works so well. So many
and
options.
the sort of the shadow in there as well.
Yeah, she's shadowed.
And then this one here. Oh, where's that one? On there. Another one from Tina Morris. And this is just using the elements, as she said, from that stamp set.
Tina posted this on Clarity Worldwide yesterday, and I looked at it and I thought my immediate response on looking at it was, Tina's got the wrong
stamp set.
She's got that. We're not using that stamp set at all. But actually, when you look at these flowers, it's this stamp here that's just repeat stamped out from that panel.
Yeah. And then you've got running through the background, which is the infill.
The infill stamp runs across the background behind the word.
Wow. That's lovely.
So clever.
And then the third one in the collection is this one here. So this is your, this one's the leafy one, isn't it? I'll change those details over.
Yep.
I'm getting rather that. There we go. This one here. So this is your leafy crescent moon. The item number for that is 11371, $14.99.
This one is a bit more moony in that.
A bit more
I shouldn't say that, should I? I'm so
Steady
sorry.
on, Deborah. What did you have for lunch?
But this has got the additional moons in it. That's what I mean. Okay. I'm sorry.
More celestial.
Sorry, friends.
Celestial?
Oh, I say. Yeah, it's got star. Yeah.
It's all going to pot now.
We're only 10 minutes in.
I know.
But we're way to go yet.
So
what
who
am I
did
trying
that
to
one?
say?
Debbie McMullen.
Debbie
she's
did.
used the backdrop stamp.
She has.
And I
she
believe
has. They're really useful. I'm going to use the circle backdrop stamp later. Yeah.
Super. Okay, one from Elaine Milner. This is quite nice on sort of a tag.
Yeah. So it's the tag swings, but you could just make a tag with it if you wanted as well.
And the detail on the background.
So she's used the if I just swing that a bit, and you can see in here the
like
accent
chain
stamps.
effect.
It's this one.
That one there,
looks like a little. I don't know. They look like netting lines or something.
Yeah, or pearls.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then this, I really like this one. This one's from Andy Duggan. And it's all on one layer.
Yeah. So just masking. Yeah.
Really nice. And that's using from another set. That's from Annie's collection, the Flyaway collection.
Yeah, the You Hung the Moon.
You Hung the Moon, isn't it? Yeah.
But then use the accent stamps to spread out from the panel, from the masked panel here.
So it looks as if it's been attached on top. Then one more from Elaine Milner. Lovely sort of grungy
fabulous.
Gel press, I reckon that one is.
Yeah, and possibly, done with bubble wrap. I think it's acrylics from the feel of it.
We've got a stamp and a stencil like that, like a bubbly wrap type thing. But it could be bubble wrap.
I think it's possibly bubble wrap on a gel plate. But then just stamp the image over, working with the is she called the Flyaway Girl? I know it's the Flyaway Boy. Butterfly Girl.
Butterfly Girl.
And then just the little treetops
as
she's up heading for a moon.
Yeah. And then one more, the final one. This one is from Tina Morris.
And again, we're back on the wreaths. And Tina's used lots of the accent stamps. So this stamp here is that outline one.
Yeah.
And the little leafy one is here.
Yeah.
What else should she use? The berry sprays, this one.
Yeah.
So they're just all in there, different colours, first and second generation. So I'm guessing she's used one, maybe two, maybe three ink pads for that.
Yeah, really lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the third in the collection. Now, during the 10 o'clock show this morning, we looked at, as we spoke about earlier, Tina's doodle designs. So I thought what we would do is just have a quick recap on the images. So let's go for this one first. So we're going to go to the overhead, and I'm going to zoom out on that one. There we go. So you can see that.
So this Buttercup doodles.
Yeah, the Buttercup one. So if I change the details on, now we have a bundle that was really, really popular. I was printing off the orders in between the show, and this and the Crescent Moons were really, really popular. So you've got 11483. It's Kissed by Clarity, Tina's Doodle A5 stamp and stencil collection. Should be £45.97. The saving is £16, which brings it down to £29.97. However, if you're a Diamond Club member, it brings it down to £25.47. So basically, it means that you're going to get one of those A5 stamp sets for free.
Brilliant. brilliant. And these are so good for mini makes. We were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
And actually, I was having a look through the mini makes Facebook page over lunch, and quite a few people were already using these and showing them. So there's a bit more inspiration on there from the Clarity community, as always.
Lovely.
Actually, I do just want to say, I can't remember who it was, but somebody asked a question on the mini makes page about what size these circle sentiment stamps were. So I did the honourable thing and measured them.
We got a ruler out.
We did. We got 2 rulers out, actually, because one was metric and one was imperial. Yes. So they're approximately 4 centimetres, just over 1.5 inches.
Right.
So they're perfect for ATCs.
ATCs, yeah, and your little mini makes, definitely.
Yeah.
So that is item. If you want just one on its own, that's item number 11480, and instead of being $19.99, it's only $14.99. Yep. And then the second one in the collection, this is the Buttercup set. And Deborah worked with both of these during the course of this morning's show. Now, also as part of when we bring you Clarity Social TV, when we do demos, we create these fantastic downloads, which are available on our website. So these were the 2 that Deb did during the 10 o'clock show. So what it does, it tells you the time, it tells you the date, what the project was called, what was made, and then further down, it gives you a list of ingredients that were used. So if you download this and keep it on your computer and you click these blue links, it will take you straight to the product.
Yep.
But even if you've got them at home, it gives you those product codes,
product numbers,
enabling you to order them at a later date. Okay.
And the other thing is, I will put all of these on my blog, deborahscraftyblog.com, with a step-by-step. So we were saying earlier, sometimes we skip through steps because of time, whatever, or we do, we don't do absolutely everything. And I always do a step-by-step in my blog as well of all my demos. So
perfect. So you've got 2 places.
You've got all ways to go for it, and all bases covered then.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So for this hour, we're going to attempt, let's say Debs is going to be doing 2 demos during the hour. And what's the first one we're going to start with? Okay,
we're going to look at, actually, let me give you those.
Thank you.
So we're going to look at the leafy crescent moon set.
Okay, right, so let me see. I've forgotten what the buttons are now. I'm going to go that one.
Excellent.
There we go.
There we go. We love a landscape at Clarity, don't we?
This is lovely.
Now, I can't claim complete credit for this. I saw something similar on a social media site.
Right.
It starts with pin. And
interesting.
I just thought, oh, that's really good. That's clever. That could work. That kind of design could work with these. And actually, that's what I love, is seeing what other people have done and what other people do in the Clarity community. That's why the Facebook groups are so brilliant. You can see what other people have done with stuff.
Yeah.
And then just put your own spin on it.
Yeah.
So I've kind of reworked what I saw and
your
done
interpretation of it.
My interpretation of it. But actually, a bit like Deb McMullen's with the poppet that we just looked at. So I've used the moon as the base for them putting a good one, putting in a little landscape.
That's lovely. And these stamps here that Deb's showing you from,
these are the woodland miniatures.
There we go. So this is from this stamp set here. There we go. So you've used that tree and that tree.
Just 2 trees and 2 colours of ink.
Okay. And the item number for that is 11287. So it's a little A6 stamp set. But I mean, look at, I think Barb was using this the other week because of this, like the
little tree down the bottom.
Yes. Really,
such a good image.
Create depth and dimension to and extend it.
Indeed, but for this one, I've used these 2 single trees.
See, you wouldn't have thought that. You would have thought there's lots of different tree stamps that you've used there.
And you could probably do it with 1 tree stamp if you needed to.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
So where do
we get started?
Right. Okay. Let me
come back to the front.
Let me find my products.
Okay. So while Debs is doing that, let's just have a quick look at the pack shot. So for this complete collection, and Barb also blogged this last night over on barbaragrayblog.com and had a different twist on it. Barbara has like an archive of all her photos on her phone, because nowadays we use our phone more than we do cameras. So Barbara was able to scroll back and say, oh yeah, I remember doing this. So Barb did a blog last night talking about this collection of stamps. I think they were drawn in the shack, I believe. So the item number is 11372. It's Barbara's Crescent Moon A5 square stamp collection, saving £15, so it's £29.97. And if you're a Diamond Club member, it brings it down to £25.47. Are we good to go now, Debs?
We are. I'm actually just going to change this for a bit of buff cardstock so you can see the white card against it.
So that's coming on the overhead then. All right, there we go.
Piece of the 3.5-inch square stencil card.
Yep, keeping it mini.
Yep. I've got the solid moon.
Right, the full surface one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is how I like to line things up. Stamps clean and dry.
Yes.
It's stained because I've had archival on there.
Yeah.
But and then I line it up where I want it.
On the card.
On the card, and then I pop my mount over it.
Right.
Because I can use my mount to help me position it again when I get back down.
Right, I see.
So this is one of the 4x4 mega mounts, which are perfect for the 3.5-inch card because they're just that bit bigger. And actually, I can go in over the top, and with the grid lines on this, I can centre it. I'm not looking at my stamp now. I'm looking at my grid lines here, and I've centred it on my stencil card.
Perfect.
So then when it's inked up, Barb always talks about don't dither when you've inked. Get it down on your card.
Especially on archivals.
Yeah. Then I can just go straight down and line it up with the edges of the card rather than going, oh, do I want my stamp here, there, or
and then
wherever.
You put it on a jaunty angle. But I suppose the moon on a jaunty angle doesn't really matter, does it?
It doesn't. And anyway, if I put it upright, I can't get my trees in.
Oh, of course.
Minor detail. I appreciate.
You need to put your trees in, don't you?
Okay, so I've got
selection of oxides.
A selection. Yeah, I've used oxides mainly because most of my stash is oxides. I'm gradually building up my distress inks. But you could do it with either.
Any sort of dye-based ink.
Dye-based inks.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got black just for a bit of darkness. So basically I'm using these two colours.
A blue and a purple.
Okay, so just a nice contrast of colours will work.
Yeah.
Kind of lighter and darker. So
and what is
spot-on sponge. It is a spot-on sponge.
Spot-on sponge. Very useful.
Ball it up into a mushroom, pick up the ink with it, and then I'm just going to sponge it down the stamp.
Okay.
So I'm keeping this on the inner edge.
Let's see if I'm going to do this now. There we go. And we'll just, actually, I should be able to, it's 50-50 now whether I get this right. So let me do.
I'm not looking.
There we go. No, that's it.
It makes me laugh.
There we go.
Right. So I've got wilted violet down. So now I'm going to pop some chipped sapphire kind of down the middle and blend it in. So I'm blending my inks on my stamp.
Right, so you're using the stamp as like a palette.
Yeah.
And I suppose because you're doing it like that and you're using those spot-on sponges, you've got more control, haven't you?
It doesn't go so dark. You can blend them in together.
Because I imagine if you took the ink pad to the stamp,
you
wouldn't get that.
Well, and you'd get straight edges from your ink pad as well. You know, if you look at this, with these, you can't see exactly where the edge is.
Yeah.
How would you do that?
Yeah.
You just couldn't. So I'm going to pop a little bit of black just along this outer edge, just to tone it down.
Okay.
The distress oxides and inks are slower drying, so you've got time to do this.
To play around.
You couldn't really do this with archival.
No.
My first lot would be dry. What I like to do is kind of hold it and hover a bit and just go, well, what do those colours look like? I've probably got a bit much black on there, so I'm just going to put a bit more of the navy, the chipped sapphire down.
Okay.
Over that middle.
I suppose because they're see-through stamps, and obviously Barbara was the person that invented see-through stamps over 32 years ago. It's perfect then. Imagine these were the old woodblock stamps. You wouldn't stand a chance, would you?
No hope of doing this sort of technique. And then just line it up again and down. If you wanted a more kind of distressed image, you could spritz it with a bit of water.
Yeah.
I've been brave and gone for it. Let's hope I don't live to regret it.
No. It's a moon, isn't it? It's the moon. So what you're doing now is just to look at that.
I was going to buff the back, but I'm not now because it fell off. So that was that decision made.
That's lovely. Right, okay, it's going to come back in now. Okay, let's have a look.
Ooh.
There we go.
Right, let me go up a bit.
So I need to do, hang on, I'm going to go, oh, that way.
In your own time, Paul. Stick with us, friends.
Sorry,
we'll be there.
I'm just trying to help.
Why don't you just keep it still and I'll move the card?
You do that then.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm getting the giggles now. Right. Okay, so that's that. Now, the next thing is to get my trees planted.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm in Kent, planted. Obviously, I want them at different heights. I don't want it all over my moon.
That's why I thought
so
it was all different trees that you were using.
So I'm going to mask it.
Okay. And I wonder what Debs is going to be using to mask off. Could it be our low tack tape that she's very frugal with?
Barb's really good at folding and pleating it round.
Yes.
I found it, I can do that, but I find it a bit more difficult. So took a technique from my sewing days.
Right.
And in order to get this to go round the curve, cut it in like those cake frills.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Or do they do this on Sewing Bee when they're trying to go round?
I don't know.
Round a corner. Oh, you haven't lived, Paul. So I've cut it half, like those old-fashioned cake frills.
Yeah.
But that means I can lay this down here with that top edge along my crescent.
Yeah.
You just take your time doing this. But then as I pleat it, this bottom edge will move.
Of course,
with the cuts, because I've cut it.
The restrictions, haven't you?
I mean, you don't have to be exact on it, but I should have set one up of this.
That's what I made earlier.
It's all sticking to my fingers now.
Part of it, isn't it? I mean, that's it.
The trick about this is you just need to slow down and take your time,
and not do it in front of an audience,
and not do it live on telly.
And then if you so you can see how it's sort of starting to come round. And as you say, if it's not exactly perfect, it doesn't really matter, does it?
So in it.
So there we go. So you're just going to move.
I'm just going to fold it round. Keep folding. But I found cutting the tape halfway just means, look, do you see here? It opens it up on that bottom edge.
Yeah, I suppose it depends on the, it's probably a technical term, the angle of the curve.
The depth of the curve.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's a shallow curve, then you can probably manage. But this one, I wanted to come quite a way round with it.
It's quite circular, isn't it?
Yeah, so look, you can see it's opened up along that bottom edge, which has just meant it
makes it less.
I've got the give on
buckly.
It. Yes, and bulky.
Yes.
There we go.
Okay.
Cool.
So we created our mask. Perfect.
Okay. So I have two trees.
Two trees from those woodland miniatures.
And they're on small clarity mounts.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, I use these mounts sideways. I just find it easy because I can grip this top bit of the handle. This camera's at a different angle than the old one used to be. There we go. I can grip that.
Yes.
And then come down, and you can see through here.
Through that part.
So see exactly where you're going. So I've got both of them mounted up. Let's come back in with my ink pads. Let me get this where we go. Do you want to come out a bit?
There we go. Come out.
We can see where we are. Right. Here's my demo one. I'll work out where I'm going. Right. So let's start with the tall tree.
And you're just going to randomly choose the colours from the
kind of alternate them.
Yeah.
That one. Let's stamp that off. I've gone straight back in on the blue, not bothered cleaning my stamp because it doesn't matter. The colours are going to blend.
And I suppose if your ink pad does get a little bit gungy, you can just wipe it with some kitchen towel.
Yeah. Yeah. Just stamp it off on your copy paper. Gets most of the ink off it. Right. Let's go in with my pine tree. Let's go navy.
See, I really did think when you showed that piece of artwork, I thought, oh, there's loads of different trees in there, but
so we'll go first generation on that one.
Yeah.
And then go second generation next to it, so it's paler.
Okay.
So stamp it down without, so you get the
height of it slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stamp that off. Let's have a.
I really like these colours. See, sometimes
I love this colour combination.
I mean, 2025 is the year of colour at Clarity.
And it's purple in January, isn't it?
Oh, is it purple?
For the challenges on Facebook and stuff, yeah.
And sometimes I know from personal experience, like when I'm working on parchment, I'm colouring a rose in or something, I always go for the red, yellow and orange colour.
Okay.
But sometimes it's good to go outside of your comfort zone, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Okay, right. So that's tree stamped in, but actually I'm still a little bare around here, around the base of the crescent.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to take my taller tree, ink it up with a bit of the chipped sapphire.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to use the very top of it. Basically,
So
I'm putting
like
some bushes in.
Nice.
First and second generation. Just fill it in a bit. Which means you don't look like you've got gaps between your trees.
Between the trees.
It's probably
and at the moment, it doesn't look anything at the moment, does it?
Because it's a bit of a mess.
It does look a bit of a mess,
tape.
to be honest. Yeah,
you can be honest.
But
however,
so nobody saw that you hitting me there, Debs. But it's when you do this reveal, and it's like anything. When Barb does it as well, and you take the framer off around the outside, right?
Now I know that we all reuse masking tape. Let me give you a piece of advice. I put that in the bin.
Thank goodness for that. Right, okay, so let's come in on, have a look at a close up on this one.
Let
so
me get my ink pads out of the way.
There we go. So I'm just going to bring that up. There we go. Look at that. And it didn't take too long, did it?
No, it didn't. I thought it might take longer, actually.
And it's really, really nice because you've got the colour tones, the colour palette. You've got the openness of that crescent moon stamp.
Ooh.
But no one would say that was a crescent moon.
No, it just looks like a base for your...
Yeah.
Actually, and so the other thing I did was there's the little crescent stamp in the set.
Yeah.
The little solid crescent moon. So I just stamped that into the sky.
And what is that you are using?
It is a stamp pen.
Stamp pen. I thought we'd sold so many of these. Nobody else is going to be buying any more of these, and Dave would be relieved. But the orders
keep coming in.
Keep coming in, and they did earlier. So if you want a set of 4 of our brand new Clarity stamp pens, you get the square, the circle, and the oval, and the rectangle. Saving $3.97, $19.99. But I know that many of you can't. You need more than one set. So on this one, the saving is unbelievable. You've got a £21.89 saving. So when you look at that saving there of $21.89, and then I go back to a set of 4 for $19.99, basically you're getting a set free, aren't you, on that saving? You've got a £21.89 saving.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're going to pay $19.99 for one.
Yeah. Yep.
So set free. So the
cool.
item number for that is 31750. And you have a little caddy for your tools, don't you?
I have
Deborah?
A bouquet of stamp pens. I don't know if you can see that. I've got them in a glass tumbler. I've got my stencil brushes in a pot.
Yeah.
And now these sit next to my stencil brushes on my desk.
They're just a go-to, aren't
they? And they're just a go-to. Sarah Brennan, I saw her posted a picture. She's used one of the Slow Down with Clarity boxes and filled it. So I think Sarah's probably bought half the available stock of
I saw that on Facebook
pens.
as well.
It's just a box full of them.
How many did she buy? And I'd say that's probably 2 sets.
Probably of the 12.
The 12,
yeah. 12,
I would say so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here?
Okay.
Or is that
all you need.
Yeah.
All you need is a mount. Okay. Really, I haven't put a sentiment on this one.
No.
You can put any sentiment you so choose. I quite liked it without a sentiment.
Yeah, I think it's really nice. It's one of those open cards, isn't it?
So I cut up with the doodle frame it panel dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the chevron. I use the lattice on my demo card, but that's out of stock at the moment. So I cut it with the chevron as well, and they sit perfectly on there. You don't need
really
anything
nice,
else. And actually, I've got a card blank here. So this goes on fits on a 5x5 card blank.
So still a little mini make as well.
Still a mini.
Isn't it?
There we go.
Look at that. That is, and you've chosen with the companion papers. Okay, I've got to say, it's really weird. We've got the companion papers, which were designed to work alongside our designer papers. Yes. But I know when Barb's been working with the companion papers, because there's 7 different ones, I think it is 7 different ones.
Yes.
On the companion papers, they're all bespoke colours to Clarity because they were taken from the original artwork of the designer papers. Yeah. but it doesn't matter what ink pad you use.
You can find
it's really weird. There's a
coordinates.
colour that will match with those ink pads.
And what I often do is, rather than try to find an exact match to the colour, I go for the tone and go slightly darker. And then that gives you a really good mount. It's a really helpful way to find a mount.
So those doodle dies, we were looking at the circular versions earlier on.
Yes. Okay. Yep.
So this is the chevron one. So this is the nested square. So it's the same concept as before. They're all individual dies. When we turn them over, you'll see that they're all individual.
All separate.
Okay. I haven't cleaned those ones.
Shocking, Paul.
Shocking. Okay.
Don't look, people.
So if you cut them all out individually, you'll see here that you get all those different panels.
Which is what I did with the companion paper.
Yeah, and I'd reckon
it's that one.
That one, isn't it? So yeah, that one there. So if you cut them out individually, they only have the outside cutting edge. Okay, and what it means is it gives you that solid panel on the inside. So the item number for this one is 31385. However, if you decided that you wanted just loads of floppy frames, so to speak, if you cut them all through at the same time, this is what you would get.
So they come out as an individual
frames.
And equally, if you cut two, so say you cut the bigger one and the next one in, you would have a frame and a panel.
Yeah, so it's a 2-for-1, isn't it?
Yeah, which is really good.
So there we go. So that, if you like those, that's the item number for that. Okay.
And I had a bit more of a play last night when I was prepping with this one, because I thought you could do this in lots of different colorways.
Right.
So I did.
Okay.
So actually, here's a green one.
Nice.
Exactly the same design, but I've done it in greens. It looks a bit darker on the screen, I think, than it does here. The greens are a bit.
I think if I
so I used bundled sage and rustic wilderness.
Okay, I'm going to zoom in now. So as I zoom in, it will change the color. Yeah. So that's your green one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I went a bit radical and I went blue.
See, I'm torn now on which one I prefer. Could we do them side by side, all three of them together?
Yeah. Let me get, in fact, let me take that card out and get a piece of copy paper, because then you can see the frames behind it. Sorry, I'm whizzing about and now it's gone blurry, having been crowing about the new.
I reckon Jim changed the settings earlier to accommodate the new lights. So I think we'll blame Jim.
So there you go.
That is really
Three
nice.
colours. But it's lovely. Pick your colour scheme and it works.
I
actually quite like the green one, and I wasn't sure that I would.
Yeah, I don't know. Green, I suppose, is a more natural colour palette, isn't it, for what they are? But
I went with these colours because I was thinking it's a night scene with the moon in.
Yeah.
And then thought, I don't know if green will look right or not, but actually it's quite nice. This is.
I like the blue.
Quite different.
Yeah.
That is, what did I use?
I'd be happy to receive any of those.
Mermaid Lagoon and Blueprint Sketch on that one.
Nice.
But all done with just a touch of black around the edge of the moon.
Just to give it that drop
just
shadow.
To drop the moon down, the crescent.
And I suppose if you want to, depending on your skill levels and how much time you wanted to dedicate to each of these individual cards, you could go with a pencil, couldn't you, on the inside of that and do a little bit. It's all about...
Absolutely. You could fill this in. You could put a further pencil drop shadow, with the grey polychromos under that to make it stand out, look a bit more 3D. You can take these up as far as you want. As Barb says, it's deciding where you want to get off the bus.
And where to stop.
Yes. Yes.
Love it. Wow, they're really nice. It's so hard to choose what one of that. It really, really is. And also it's thinking out of the box that it's not necessarily just the moon. It is that platform.
Exactly. And I've started doing more in the same design in different colorways. It just really makes you look at them differently.
I wonder.
Think about what else you've got in your stash. Otherwise, everything I did would be teal coloured and maybe a bit of pink. Oh,
I wonder. Let's have a look. Sorry.
Oh, hello.
Our Pergamano coasters.
You'd have to.
That without the frame. You could go for the next one. No, without the frame. They're just a lovely set of coasters.
Without the frame, it would make a set of coasters.
That'd be really nice.
Or you could chop your stencil card down, because you've got a bit of give around the side of the design. Yeah. And then use the next size down of the doodle die.
Yeah. Coasters, fantastic, as a little gift.
There you go. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
That was worth you coming.
Oh, thanks, Debs. I might come back again.
Oh.
Who knows? So, do you want to get ready for your
Shall
next
I
demo?
do that?
Shall I?
Yeah,
Should we
let's.
stand here and watch you now?
No,
Get
don't
ready
do
for the demo. Okay. So
it's such a mess here already.
It's not messy. It's a craft room. So the Debs that Stamps has been using, the stamps that Debs
Choose
has
any of
been
those words.
using. Okay, we'll see if anyone at home is paying attention. Item number 11372. This is Barbara's Crescent Moon A5 square stamp collection. The complete collection has a retail price of £44.97. There's a saving of £15, which equates to three for the price of two. So it brings it down to £29.97. Now, if you belong to one of our craft clubs, you get a 10% saving, which is £26.97. If you belong to two of our clubs, it gives you a 12.5% saving, which brings it down to £26.22. However, if you are a Diamond Club member, you get a 15% discount on that price, bringing it down to £25.47. Now, the stamps are available individually if you would like those. So if you want the Floral Crescent Moon A5 square stamp set, the item number for that is 11369. If you want to go for the Hearty Crescent Moon A5 square stamp set, the item number is 11370. And then finally, the third one in that collection, which is the Leafy Crescent Moon, which was the one Deborah just used, is item number 11371. Now, as you can see, Debs is a big fan of our brand new Clarity stamp pens. So this is a set of 4, and you get a square, a circle, a rectangle, and an oval. You've got a £3.97 saving, bringing it down to £19.99. However, if you want more than one set, then we have a collection of 3 of those sets for you. Item number 31750, £21.89 saving, bringing it down to £49.99. And if you are a Diamond Club member, it brings it down to a further £42.49. Are we okay for?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
We shall come back and
Let's
look
go.
at the front camera then.
Okay, actually, I just wanted to show a couple more cards.
Okay.
When we were talking earlier, so both of these demos use the solid crescents, the moons. But actually, just following on from what we were talking about earlier in terms of looking at what's in the rest of the set.
Yeah.
I've blogged both these cards today, as it happens.
Oh, right. Okay.
For other reasons. This one, people who've read my posts on Facebook and that will know that I've set myself a personal challenge to try and make a Christmas card every week.
I thought it was going to say
for the
every
year.
day.
No, steady on. Every week through the year, just to try and get a bit of a stash built up.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I wonder if I can make a Christmas card with these.
With the Crescent Moons.
Well, indeed I have, with the woodland miniatures as well. So this is just the Mountains mask with a bit of picket fence ink blended through it.
Yeah.
There's the stag from the woodland miniatures.
The woodland miniatures, yeah.
And then the star, the crescent moon, and the little leafy spray in the foreground are all from the
one that
leafy,
you were just working
the one
on,
that I was just working with.
Which is 11371.
So there's the leaf, there's the crescent moon, and there's the star.
And as you say, often we forget
excuse me, I'm going to cough.
Okay. And often we forget about the ones that are around the outside because we're instantly drawn to that solid surface. Yeah.
Or you think it's got to be with a moon style card.
Yeah.
Whereas actually you can use them for completely different things. So this one I went way off piste for me.
Wow. Okay.
And this is using
those little fishies.
They're Sam's Gone Fishing set.
Sam's Gone Fishing. Nice.
And this is one of the backgrounds we made at the summer retreat last year when we were colleagues who were there will remember we were mopping up acrylic, spraying acrylic paint.
That's right, on the
with
brown
water
mats.
On the brown mats and then mopping it up. And I had this sat in my stash. I thought, oh, that looks quite watery.
Yeah.
But my seaweed and my kind of netting strips are this stamp and this stamp.
Wow.
With the bubble stencil behind it.
Nice.
So actually you can look at them and do really different things with them.
Yeah. That's really good. And as you say, sometimes we forget about the little assets around the outside and the ones in. So on this one, you've got Chase the Moon, Reach for the Stars. On the other one, we didn't even mention the little sentiments. You've got shoot for the moon, love you to the moon and back. And then on the final one, you've then got the fly me to the moon. I want to sing, but I can't sing. And you hung the moon.
So actually these sets, like when you look at them, they lead you down a kind of moon themed route, almost. But you can go way different with them. Christmas cards, into the water. I don't even like fish. Some of my friends will be killing themselves laughing now, thinking, what is she doing making a card with fish on it? She can't bear them.
But no,
anyway,
I think that works really well.
All in the name of art.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I thought we'd back to the moon theme.
Okay. And don't forget, all of these are available as downloads, and they're also a step-by-step on Deborah's blog.
Yeah. Love you to the moon and back. Valentine's is coming up next month.
Yes.
So I thought let's go with more of a moon theme and a love theme using the hearty crescent moon.
Hearty crescent moon.
Sorry, I had to think for a minute now. Starting to lose the ability to speak.
It's my fault.
Now, the first step on this is to get your circle background, and that's using the circle backdrop stamp.
Right.
The small circle backdrop stamp.
So they come as a pair. We have those on the show. So you get the 2 different size stamp sets. Okay. So you get the larger one and you get the smaller one. The item number for this pair is 11038, and the circle full surface backdrop A5 square and A6 stamp duo, normally $17.99, and it's on offer at $14.99. Diamond Club's $12.74. Now, since we had that ruler earlier, should we measure them so we can tell our friends at home?
You've got the imperial one. I've got the metric.
Okay, so diameter-wise, across that one, so that is 5 inches across on the larger one, and then the smaller one is, what's that? 3.5.
Just under 3.
Just under 3.5 inches on there. So that's in your inches.
And then metric with my Pergamano ruler, we're about, where am I?
About
13 centimeters and 8.5.
Okay, perfect. So 2 lovely sizes, and they sort of work within one another as well, don't they?
Yeah, they're really good. Yes, because they'll fit an overlay.
Yeah.
But I love these. These are great for those backgrounds when you just want to frame something.
Yeah.
We saw a couple of the design team ones where people had used those in the background.
Yeah. And they come in all different shapes. We've got the squares, hearts, ovals, rectangles. What did I say? Circle, square, rectangle, hearts. Yeah, I think it's the 4 different sizes.
Yes, that sounds right. Okay. So, as I said, first step is to get this background in. Okay. And I've done it in 2 colours.
Oh, similar to you did with the crescent moon in the first one.
Except this time I'm going to, because it's a bigger stamp, I'm going to brayer it onto the stamp.
Right.
These are fantastically useful, the clarity blending
mats. So these are A4 blending mat. The item number for that is 30214. It's only $9.99 for an A5, and it's so useful, isn't it? Because
I use it all the time.
You've got that sort of like a serrated edge, so if you wanted to tear your paper on there, and then at the bottom you've got for tearing your heels and mountings and stuff as well.
Yeah, really useful, really useful. So we've seen Barb do this a number of times.
Yeah.
So you want to see it done properly, you'll have to watch one of Barb's shows. But here's my feeble attempt. I've got, what have I got? I went with slightly darker colours. The other thing to remember is when you brayer onto a stamp, the ink is lighter than it would be if you just applied it directly. You kind of diffuse it down a bit. So you can get away with stronger colours. So I've gone Picked Raspberry and Mermaid Lagoon, which look much brighter than you've actually got on that background on the stamp.
Yeah.
But that's because they're brayered.
Okay.
Right. Let's see if I can do this then. I hope Barb's not watching.
There's no pressure. So it's lift and flick,
lift and flick, lift and flick.
See, and all of a sudden it looks as if it's disappeared, doesn't it?
Yeah, it goes.
Because you've spread the colour out.
And then, oh good, just going to move my card out of the way. This is bad at home. I wind up crafting in about 2 square centimetres of space. And then just spread and again, lift and flick.
And are you covering the whole of the half? Okay.
That looks about enough. Okay, and
Yeah.
I'm going to spin that. I'm going to clean the ink off my brayer.
Okay.
So literally spray, when I find my water bottle, just spray down a piece of kitchen towel.
Yeah.
Give it a good wet. And then roll your brayer down it.
This is such a good way to. I remember when Barb's first started doing it, because I remember back in the day when I used to play with the brayer out, and you automatically used to go for wet wipes, didn't you? And then you'd have more ink on your hands than you would on the brayer. And I'm not an inky hand person.
Okay, so now I'm picking up my Mermaid Lagoon. And again, because I'm using Distress Oxide, you could use inks on this as well. Yeah. Distress inks. Sort of it's not going to dry right out on your stamp. Right, that looks good. Actually, and with this technique, it doesn't matter if it's not totally evenly spread.
I suppose no, because it's sort of it's a background, isn't it?
It's a background, yeah. And I think we forget that sometimes. We try and get perfect images on everything, whereas sometimes backgrounds look better if they're a bit distressed and grungy. And
yeah, I'll go along with that.
Right, okay. Let's see what we got.
See, it really doesn't look as if you have much on there, does it?
You can see it a bit better when I hover.
Yeah, when you've got the white.
This is a 5x5 mount I've got here.
Okay.
Slightly bigger because I've got a bigger piece of stencil card. I cut it about 4 1/4. It's from the the large stencil card, the 8.5 by 11.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so you can cut 4 1/4
inch
squares off that. You get 4 squares off that plus a strip.
Okay.
Left at the bottom.
Good to know. Okay.
Okay, so let's push it down. You can turn it over and burnish it on the back.
Yeah.
And then pray to the gods of crafting.
Who are they then?
Well, St. Barbara of Edenbridge.
Now, it really doesn't look, I mean, it is very faint.
It is.
And all I'm going to say is I'm going to come in really close.
I got this one a bit darker.
Let me come in, hang on, this one, I think. Because I think the closer we come in, it should intensify the colour.
You could go in over it again. Because of lining it up with the Mega Mount, it makes it easier to overstamp.
Yeah.
To go in again. This one came out a bit dark. I got this one a bit darker.
Okay.
But that's what I say about how.
Try it to the other camera. Let's just see. I think
if it picks it up a bit better. There you go.
There you go. You can definitely see a difference. I think we just need a little bit of tweaking with the overhead camera and our new lights.
Does this one come
in a bit better?
That's a bit. Yeah. That's a bit darker.
There we go. You can see that. Okay.
But actually, you don't want a lot. You don't want it to be a dominant background.
No. So which one are you going to go for?
I'll go with the one I did at home.
Okay.
So it lines up a bit better. Right, let me just get rid of this stamp off here.
Yeah.
Where's me? What am I doing here, Paul? Oh, yeah, my crescent moon.
Are you using a crescent moon stamp?
I was going to,
chance?
Yeah.
You already got that
mounted? No, don't be silly. Why would I have done that?
Why would you have it mounted? So here we have that full collection, 11372, £29.97. Then Deborah was using those lovely full surface backdrop stamps, the circles. It comes in the 2 sizes. The item number for that is 11038. Stencil card, 7x7 stencil card is 30095, and the A4 blending mat 30214. Okay, are we good to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me just talk about lining up this stamp.
Yeah.
So the stamp comes out deeper than the circle, but the thing to aim for is to try and line up your points of the stamp with the edge of your backdrop.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I see. Yeah.
Because you want it to look like a continuous circle if you can. Yes.
Okay.
Right. So I've got my 5x5 mega mount. So let's just line this up on here so I know I'm straight with it. Now I am going to use archival on this because I want it a bit more dominant. But I'm using a polar one. I've got the shadow grey archival, which is a really nice light grey. Yes, black would look really. You'd lose the effect of the softer colours in the backdrop if you put a really dominant black on, I think.
Yeah. And I suppose it's all about the subtleness of it, isn't it? When you look at that finished piece that you've done, I think if you put black on there, it really would look quite harsh.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's come back in with that. I've already lined it up, so I just need to get my lines from my mega mount over my card.
Yeah.
Rather than fret about exactly where my stamp is, which means I can go down more quickly.
Yeah.
Sorry, all you can see is my hands there, friends.
No, that's fine. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Give it a good press down. Again, buff the back if you want to.
If you need to, yeah.
You need to. There we go.
See, it's interesting because I'm looking at it from the side
now.
But I'm looking at it from the side.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
And it looks just as lovely that way. It goes back to that. It looks like a scarf around the neck.
Yeah.
But not a neck. If
almost
you know what I mean.
Encased, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it looks dimensional, like a globe.
Yeah.
That's got something wrapped around it. But we'll stick with that way.
All right. All right. Fair enough.
We'll go with your way, Deb.
I'll carry on. Cheers, mate. So then I use the infill. You'll see here, the hearts are pink.
Oh, yes.
Just a bit more pink.
Yeah.
But actually, what I quite like about this is you can still see the edge of the backdrop stamp through it.
Yeah.
It just adds a bit more texture
to
it. Rather than going, oh, that's terrible, I can see that backdrop through it. Actually, no, I quite like it.
Because of the translucency, doesn't it?
Exactly. So again, this is my favourite technique for lining up. If you overlay the stamp, when you overlay it with these overlay ones that you can see now, it's come into focus against the image. Let me move it again. I'll move it slightly. Look, it's out of focus. You can't see the pattern clearly.
Isn't it? Yeah.
So you can't see it clearly. So it's a case of just nudging it. And sometimes it is just a nudge. Until you
throw the paper across the room.
To light it. Oh, it's just like being at home.
It's nearly home time, Debs.
It's just like being at home. I know. I think the wind's died down a bit here, actually.
It's lovely outside. Beautiful sunny day down here.
It was a bit gusty coming over the Dartford Bridge this morning.
You'll be going underneath, going back
there, so a bit
safer. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. So it's worth taking your time to position with that.
Yeah.
And then use the mount. I've got the 4x4 one here, which will just sit just within my card.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, once I've inked this, I can go straight back down because I'm just lining my mount against the card instead of trying to work out where my image is.
Put it. Yeah.
I want a spot on sponge. I'm not doing very well here, am I?
What did you have for lunch?
Oh,
see, I really love it. Just this effect of the wraparound.
I just think it's the other technique you could use for this. You know, the other day Barb was using the mask.
Oh yes,
the circle mask.
Simple aperture.
Yeah, I haven't tried it for size actually, but that would be the other option for getting a background, getting the circle background. So I've got the picked raspberry again, and I'm just going to sponge it on here. Just distributes the ink more evenly, and it's not so loud.
There really is a difference, isn't there? If you went direct for ink pad direct to the stamp, it would be quite prominent.
Intense.
But also what it can do, it can be quite blistery as well, can't it? Especially if it's really wet.
If you've got a relatively new ink pad that's a bit juicy.
So by using the spot-on sponges, it's a good way of applying the ink with a little bit more control and consistency.
There.
Nice.
That's come out deeper. I think on this one, I used a paler pink to fill in the moon.
Yeah.
To fill in the hearts.
But they both work, don't
they? But actually, yeah.
They really do.
At the end of the day, it's all about choices and what you want to do and
in a
how
way,
you
you've
want
got
it
an
to
idea
look.
in your head of what it.
You know where you're going.
And if it's a shade lighter or darker, The
Doesn't
grey
matter.
is slightly darker on this one than it is on that one.
Yep.
Again, that could be drying time as well.
Exactly. How much ink you put on your stamp as you're doing it. Okay. That's the bulk of it done. The other thing I did then was just add a couple of the accent stamps and the sentiment.
Okay. See, and if you want to, Barbara often jokes that if you've got very focal glasses when you're doing this and you think you've got it lined up and it doesn't, it creates that sort of drop shadow effect, doesn't it?
And you can always either leave it like that and go, that's lovely, I'll take that, thank you. Or use pencils to add in a little more shading and shadow to it. Okay, let's pop my sentiment in.
So you're going with one of the sentiments.
I am. I'm using "Love You to the Moon and Back."
Love you to the moon and the back, and back even. But if you've gone for all three, you've got Chase the Moon, Reach for the Stars, Shoot for the Moon, Fly Me to the Moon, You Hung the Moon, and Love You to the Moon and back.
I'm using watering can for this. I don't want black. Black would be a bit hard. And actually the shadow grey when you stamp with it is lighter.
Right.
So watering cans, a darker grey. Yeah. That pink is a bit deeper than I would have liked.
But I quite like it.
There we go.
Nice.
This is such lovely fine lettering.
It's a lovely font
really good
as
font.
well, isn't it? Yeah.
And then let's pop a couple of the accents in. There's this lovely little dangly heart here.
Yeah.
Up in the top corner. Perfect with a stamp pen. Rectangular one works for this. That's the beauty of having the stamp pens with the different shape bases as well.
Yeah. So you got the square, the circle, the rectangle, and the oval.
And then I literally just hung it off the top part of the moon. Make sure it's down. There we go.
Nice.
And then the other one I put on, there's a little tiny heart.
Oh, goodness.
In the set.
Wow.
Look here.
Oh, yeah. I didn't see that before.
Tiny, tiny little heart. So we'll pop that in.
Using another one of our stamp pens.
That's why it's useful to have a set.
A set, or maybe
plural
3 sets.
Yes. And I just hung that off the sentiment, which is lovely.
And because you're using that stamp pen, you've got the precision, haven't you?
But also sometimes with smaller stamps, I find with a mount, you can almost but you can get a bit too much pressure on it and go hard. And this, your pressure's exactly in the center of the base.
I mean, Dave and his head and Barbara and her head, how they come up with these.
Oh, just inspired.
So conversations happen and things like that, and all of a sudden you've got these fantastic new stamp pens. I think we knew they were going to be popular because obviously Dave has to assemble these. He has to put the heads on them, so I think he'd allocated some time to do for the initial run. And ask Dave if he's still making them when you see him before you go.
All right.
He's still making them. Do I need to stand back
when I ask that question?
I mean, the demand has been absolutely fantastic. So yeah.
So the other thing I did, look, you've still got all this ink here on your blending mat.
Yeah.
So 2 uses for that. One is pick it up with a blending pen and you can colour in these little images with it. Don't waste this ink.
So the blending pen, the item number for that is 70440. So now all of a sudden with those inks, you're creating like your own little felt tip pens, aren't you?
Yeah. That's kind of how they work. So you can just highlight the bits.
Wow, and you're not wasting that. And even, I mean, there's still going to be loads of ink on there, so you can spritz it, mop it up.
I would spritz it and mop it up. And what I started doing when I spritz it, actually I'll show you in a minute with some scrap card, is get it really wet on here. And then the ink will run slightly on your scrap card and you can get lovely kind of landscapes. And certainly if you're doing ATCs in the in the sharing, fabulous backgrounds for ATCs.
Oh, so now what you do is that little moon.
Just highlight the moon in blue.
I didn't even see the moon was there.
There we go.
Wow, look at that.
It's sweet, isn't it?
And so it's just using 2 ink pads.
Yeah.
You've got your backdrop full surface backdrop stamp, the small circular one on there as well. And you've got the hearty moon, crescent moon on that one. So it doesn't really take much, and some 3.5 by, was that 3.5 by 3.5?
No, it's 4.25. It's off the
That's
from
right,
the larger stencil
8.5
card.
by 11.
Yeah. So if you cut it in half lengthways, it cuts to 4.25.
Right. Okay.
And then, because I didn't want to add any more colour in there, for this one, I popped grey. I think that's Rainbow River.
Let me have a look on your download.
Paper. What did I tell you I'd use?
What did you tell us? You said Rainbow River.
There you go.
There we go.
But that just frames it because it reflects the grey from the crescent moon, rather than trying to add another colour in, and then keeps the focus on that in the centre. And actually, on my original card, because you know I use them all the time, I did actually
an embedder.
I did use an embedder on the card.
So if you want to see how the embedders were used, Deborah used the circular ones during the 10 o'clock show this morning, and so you can go back and watch that via our Clarity Facebook page. So you're cleaning up.
I'm going to clean up.
Cards. You don't want to spritz your card.
I've given it a really good. Can you see it's really wet now?
Wet.
And the ink's running. But I quite like that because you can then go in and don't just plonk your card down. I've been paying attention to Barbara on the retreats. But if you look, you can. Where am I?
Above.
There we go.
Oh,
and because it's wet, you can get it to run, and then you can go in with your blue on this side, get a bit more on there. Look, you get lines and all sorts of fun things on it.
Nice.
Because it's really wet.
Yeah.
I've got a whole folder of these at home because this is what I do all the time.
Perfect for your little mini makes, your
ATCs. So I'll probably get another 2 backgrounds mopped off that.
Yeah.
They'll all be different. Obviously the same colours, but they won't look exactly the same because it's unpredictable. Leave those to dry. You've got fantastic backgrounds for little.
Wow.
For little seams.
Absolutely brilliant. So would you believe it? It's 3:05. So we didn't do too bad. Yeah, you're not bad. Do you want to come back next month?
I might come again.
Come back next month. So thank you for joining us. Thank you. We haven't seen any of the chat, but I'm sure you've all been behaving over in the chat room. Thank you for Grace for keeping an eye and just let us know what was going on. Thank you obviously to lovely Deborah.
Thanks for having me.
Have a look go back and you can watch up. Maybe you tuned in halfway through or you missed a 10 o'clock show. If you go to the claritycrafts.com website, there's a little blue button that says Clarity TV. Click there, and when you go in there, you'll see all the items that Deborah's used during the course of this hour and the 10 o'clock show. But just above that, it says Catch Up and Craft. There's a little button.
Yeah.
You go there. You've got all the videos in there. You've got all the downloads for Deborah's 4 demos that she's managed to do over the 2 hours. And you scroll down and you can see all of the other previous shows as well.
And all 4 cards will go on my blog, deborahscraftyblog.com, over the next 4 days.
Super
so
duper.
I'll do 1 a day.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy your weekend. So next week, we're back in the shack with Barb at 10 o'clock. Continuing with the letter P, and I've seen what Barb's come up with for letter P.
Is it good?
Yeah. But I know Barb said last night she needs to practice so that she can get. But I'm sure.
I'm so intrigued.
Yeah,
I'm so intrigued.
P on the alphabet, and then we're back with you for a special show at 2 o'clock for another episode of Clarity Social TV. So enjoy whatever you're doing over the weekend. If the weather isn't very nice, just stay in and craft. Just stay safe.
Stick with us.
And we'll see you back on Monday. Take care.